welcome back to another video here with Angel B Designs. I'm Angel B. Thank you so much for watching. If you are new here, welcome. If you're not, welcome back. In today's video, you guys, I am going to be showing you how to bling for beginners. A couple weeks ago, I did do a live on my channel here where I was live and I was doing kind of a bling for beginners. So I wanted to go ahead and offer a condensed version so that if you didn't want to watch the 2-hour live, you can watch this 20-30 minute video and still get all of the same information. All of my materials will be linked down below, but I'm going to go over all materials. Excuse me, I'm going to go over all of my materials, time, temperature, literally everything you need to know as a beginner blinger, okay? And we're going to be using Hotfix rhinestones, but this is the design I'm going to be doing in today's video, you guys. It's so pretty. Look at that. I absolutely love it. The colors I used in this are icicles on the outline. I used Royal Siam on the red. The word pretty is in black diamond, and then the blue is Sapphire AB. Okay? I will, again, make sure I list all materials down in the description box, so definitely make sure you are checking there if you are interested in ordering anything I'm using in this video. But this is what we're doing today, guys, so definitely go ahead and stick around for this. All right, guys, so I'm going to go ahead and start off on the computer here. I am going to show you how to cut this template on Leonardo Design Studio. However, this exact same process can be done in Cricut Design Space as well as Silhouette Studio. The cut settings are the only thing that may be different, but everything else I'm going to show you needs to remain the same, and no matter what software you cut. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and import my file here. Now, when it comes to and you want this to be cut only, should be your rhinestone template should be an SVG file. So you are going to cut only, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and bring this in. Now, when you are cutting a rhinestone template, right? So technically, or typically, a lot of people who sell rhinestone files, they will let you know the size that the rhinestone file has to be. Now, this is very important. And the reason is because depending on the size rhinestones that you're using, SS10 is the most popular. That is the size that I will be using in today's video. Okay. The SS10 rhinestones, the template, the holes that are cutting out in the template, they have to be a very specific size. 0.13 is the size that the holes should be on your rhinestone template. That means that your SS10 stones will be able to brush into those holes. If it's smaller, then they will not be able to brush in as easily. If they're bigger, then your design will be too gappy. Okay, you'll have too much space in between your actual rhinestones. So you want to make sure that your holes are 0.13. Again, typically the rhinestone designer, whoever you purchased your template from, will make sure that that is already done for you. All you have to do is make sure that when you size your template inside of whatever software you're using, you make sure that you have it the correct size that the designer made it. Now, for Leonardo Design Studio, it does come in the correct size. To my knowledge, the only software program that brings rhinestone templates into small is Cricut Design Space. So if you are cutting with a Cricut machine and you're using Cricut Design Space, make sure your template is sized the correct way. Okay. So this is the template I have here. I'm going to go ahead and right click and I'm going to ungroup. Okay. So some people do like to cut their rhinestones in these squares here. I personally don't. I think that it wastes a little bit more flock than what I want. So, oh, excuse me. So for me, I'm going to select this black square and I'm going to delete it. Now, because I ungrouped everything, all of my holes are individual, right? But as you can see, if you look at the size here, it says 0.131. So I know that these holes are the correct size. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and select all of these holes for this part of this template. I'm going to right click again. I'm going to group. I'm going to right click again. I'm going to go down to paths and I'm going to combine the paths.
That means everything is kind of welded and it's all going to cut together when I click send design. I'm going to do the same thing for this one. I'm going to delete the square, highlight all of the stones, group, and combine paths. And then once more for this one. Now, all designers don't have it come with a black square. Some will have it come this way. It just depends on who you purchase from. Everybody does it differently. But know which way is wrong, okay? It's just my preference. That's all. Okay, so now here is my template here, okay? I'm going to cut this on a 12 by 24 mat. I'm going to show you my cut settings. Now, again, this is something that's personal preference. Everybody has a preference on how they like to cut. For me, in order to be able to get all of the rhinestones to cut the rhinestone holes, I'm sorry, the flock holes, to where I don't have to really pick any out, these are the settings that I use, okay? I am going to cut on a mat. So not matless. I'm going to cut on a mat, a 12 by 24 mat. So I want all of these to be on the same mat. So I'm going to turn these all black because I'm cutting it all out from flock. So I'm just going to cut it out on one mat on one piece. Once it's done cutting, I'm actually going to have this on one side of my chopping mat, this on the other. When I'm brushing in my stones, I'll kind of show you how I do it. But if I want this piece, and this piece to all be 3 separate colors, you just simply tape it off. And I will show you that later in the video, okay? But to save on flock, I'm going to cut all of these together and trim it up once it's done. Okay, that's going to save on me wasting flock. All right, so this is really ready for me to go ahead and cut. I'm going to go on over to send design. And again, I'm just going to kind of rearrange this on the mats. I like my templates to kind of cut, in the middle so that nothing gets cut off on accident. And this is not mirrored, so I'm going to unmirror that. You are not mirroring your flock when you cut it. You do not mirror, okay? So what I'm going to do is go on over to my cutting machine. I'm going to show you my cut settings. I'm going to show you how I put it on the mat. I'm going to show you all of those things. We'll go ahead and cut, and then we'll finish this design out. All right, you guys. So this is the rhinestone flock that I will be using today. This is one of my favorite ones. I've used multiple. I will leave links for them down below. I have a purple one and I have a pink one. The one I'm going to use today is the purple one from the baby's booty. Again, all of my materials for today's video will be linked down below. But this is the flock, and I do have the biggest roll here. It's the 12-inch one. Well, 12 inches wide, but as you can see, it's a lot of inches long, okay? And I'm going to be using a 12 by 24 Cricut standard grit mat. And I'm going to go ahead and pretty much fill up this mat here. So I just place it onto my mat. Now, this is very different than regular, like the HTV flock that you see, like on the shelves. Like Siser does have a flock that they sell. This is not the same as that kind of flock, okay? That flock is HTV, which means that it's heat activated. So it's something that you would like press onto a garment, a shirt, something like that. This rhinestone flock is sticky on the back of it. So let me show you. It's almost like premium vinyl. Okay, so when you pull it up, the backing of it, this part, it's sticky. So that's the biggest difference. And this is specifically for rhinestoning. This is rhinestone flock. So, not the same as the HTV flock. It's 2 different kinds of material. Okay, I'm gonna go on over to my Siser and I'll show you my settings. Alright, so this is the Siser Romeo that I'm going to be using. I do already have my mat loaded in. Now, with the Siser Romeo, you do have to place your blade where you want it to start cutting, and I'm just using the arrows here to do so. Alright, and then I'm going to go to my cut settings. And I did have to create a specific setting for this flock. So I went over to other. In the Siser Romeo, if you go over to other when you first get them under the presets, there will be a couple of blank spaces for you to add in a couple of settings if you want to, which, like I said, I did go ahead and do that. So under my flock setting, I have my cut speed set to 10. I pretty much cut everything on 10. The highest speed is 13, but I keep it on 10 just so that I don't wear out my motor too fast. And my force is going to be on 68. Okay, before I cut, one thing you want to do is you want to make sure that your blade is nice and cleaned off. This is just kind of the standard blade that I'm using. I do believe it's either a 45 or a 60. I want to say it's a 60 degree blade from Siser. And I'm just going to make sure it's nice and cleaned off, which it is. So I'm going to go ahead and put it back. Okay, and that's pretty much it. So on my laptop here, I'm going to go back into Siser and push send to cutter. Again, it is not mirrored. It's not mirrored. This is the screen that we were looking at before. It's not mirrored. We're going to leave it just like that, and we're going to push send to cutter. And then it's going to start cutting out each individual, like, small hole there. And it probably takes anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes on the Siser Romeo. So I'm going to go ahead and let it cut out the entire template. I'll come back and we'll peel it and start brushing in the stones and pressing and everything else. Okay, so while that's cutting, I kind of wanted to quickly show you guys my rhinestone setup. I do get a lot of questions on, like, how do I store my rhinestones. So anytime I purchase rhinestones, this is the container I normally purchase them in, and they come in these containers. This is a 250 gross. Again, my rhinestones will be linked down in the description box, but I get them from the Baby's Booty, and she has multiple different ways that you can purchase rhinestones. This is just my preference, the 250 gross containers. Again, when you go to her website, she has different purchase options. So definitely head over there to take a look. But this is how I store them. These are the modular cubes from Michaels. I did order them online. I had a coupon and I think they went on sale at one point, so I ordered a bunch of them. But these are the modular cubes from Michaels, and I just stacked them. And then these are the risers that I get. I get these from Amazon. They are very, very thick. Like, they don't bend. Okay, like, it's really hard to bend this. Like, it's very sturdy, very, very thick. They don't really bend, which is something that you want to be careful about. You guys, these rhinestones are heavy. Okay, if you're putting them on a shelf that isn't very, very thick, again, these modular cubes are thick, so they don't bend, they don't bow, none of those things. And then inside the modular cube, I use the risers that are also very thick and don't bow, so I don't ever have any issues with my rhinestones bending, breaking, bowing, none of those things. This is just my version. There's so many different people out there who have built their own cabinets, their own shelves. Definitely your preference. But again, one thing you want to definitely make sure is, if you are going to get into this for real, and you're going to order, you know, a bunch of colors like I have here, please keep in mind that these rhinestones are heavy. Okay, I've heard a lot of horror stories of people's shelves breaking, collapsing, things like that. So whatever storage method you decide to go with, please make sure that
your material that you're using or the shelf that you're using. If you're installing it into the wall, please make sure you're installing it properly into the stud, so that you have the best sturdy shelf that you can have. That's my biggest takeaway, I would say, is make sure whatever shelving system you choose, it's sturdy. It's sturdy, it is thick, and it is installed properly. Okay, but this is my method. Again, I'll leave the modular cubes linked down below. I will leave the risers linked down below, and I will leave the rhinestones linked down below as well. Okay, but again, my rhinestone template is still cutting. I will come back when it's done. Alright guys, so my template is done cutting out. So now I'm going to go ahead and get it ready on the chopping mat, and this is going to be so that we can brush in our stones. The first thing I'm going to do here is I am going to peel back my flock. And as you can see here, this is the flock that was cut out. These are the holes, and the holes are staying down on the mat. That's what we want. If they did not cut all the way through, you would have to hand pick all of these little dots out. You don't want that. Okay, so as you can see here, I do have some dots that I'm gonna have to pick because they stuck. They're not coming up 100% right here on this part of the template. Okay. So I do have some that I have to pull out here. There's a couple different ways. As you, hopefully you guys can see them. The holes stayed right here in the template. They didn't come all the way out. Okay, so we have to get those out before we put them put this onto the mat. What I'm going to do is, because this part of the template completely cut out, what I'm going to do first is I'm going to go ahead and trim this. Now, this is a chopping mat I normally get from Amazon. Typically, you can use this to cut food on. But this is what I use to put my templates on. You need something that's going to be a little bit sturdy. It's still bendable, but it's still also pretty hard, so that when you go to brush in your stones, they're not like flying all over the place. This is what I use. Again, I get them from Amazon. I will make sure I leave a link for them down below. But I'm just going to take, because again, the backing of this is sticky, so I'm just going to take this and place this onto the chopping mat. This is how I store them. And then I have a little bit of excess flock that's hanging off, and I kind of just take my scissors and cut that right on off. Okay, so now this part of the template is ready for us to brush in the stones. Now what I need to do is go ahead and get these little dots out. Again, there's a couple ways to do this. You can take some sharp tweezers and you can pick them. Sometimes what I like to do is I will start by using a lint brush. With my finger, this is the seam here, with my finger kind of placed onto the seam there, I take the lint brush and I kind of quickly just dab onto the holes. You don't want to dab too hard because you don't want them to like aggressively stick, because you don't want to run the risk of ripping your template. If you find that for whatever reason this is not working, you may have to just use your tweezers to kind of hand pick them. But this does seem to be working, so
I got just about all of them out. There's like 3 that wouldn't come out. So now what I'm going to do, I just have some pointy tweezers here, and I'm just going to go ahead and pick them out with the tweezers. Alright guys, so I did go ahead and peel everything out, and I have both sides on, both pieces of the template on the cutting mat. So this is going to be the outline on one side, and then this is the inside here, okay? Now, what I was saying was, like, you can make this all one color, or you can make it 3 different colors. I'm going to make this 3 different colors. This is going to be a shade of red, this is going to be black, and this is going to be a shade of blue. And then this is going to kind of be like a shade of, like a clear iridescent. Okay, so because I didn't want to waste the flock, that's why I put it on one big piece like this. To block from getting the rhinestones in this part, you can just use a little bit of painter's tape. So what I'm going to do is put the painter's tape right over the piece that I do not want the stones to go into. And then I'm going to take my stones. So for this one, let me show you what these are, the actual rhinestones. This is one of the sides that they do come in here. This color is Royal Cyan. They look absolutely amazing. Look how those just sparkle. Come on, camera, zoom in. Uh-oh, I don't want to drop any. Those look so pretty, but this is going to be the shade of red that I'm using. And how you brush in, you're going to pour a very generous amount. And then you're going to take your edge brush, and again, I got this from Amazon. I will leave all my materials linked down below, but an edge brush, a bone brush are the 2 brushes that I use. This is what I use for SS10. I would use a bone brush if I'm using SS6. Again, link will be down below. And you're going to take your brush, and you're just going to brush it in a circular motion. And to get the stones out of the way once they fall into the holes, you're going to just kind of take this edge part here. This is what I do. Take the edge part here and just kind of lightly brush them going this way. And then as you can see, most of them are falling, pretty much all of them are falling right into the holes. This is why the size of the holes is so important, so that they just kind of effortlessly fall right into the holes. Hopefully my arm isn't in the way, you guys. I'm sorry if it is. But this is why your hole size is so important, okay? Now, when you're doing this, you may not get every single stone to go in, or you may have some that are flipped upside down. If that is the case, then you would just use one of these wax pens here. Use the wax part, and you can just pick it up and flip it over. So like this one doesn't have any adhesive on the back, so I'm going to go ahead and remove it. And this one is flipped over. So I'm just going to use my wax pen here and flip over any that need to be flipped over. But any of these holes, like there's a hole here, here, I'm just going to pick up a rhinestone and place it right on the inside. Okay, now all of my holes are filled, so I'm going to brush these out of the way for now. Then you're going to need some KTM mask to pick this up. So it's basically like transfer tape for rhinestones. There's a couple different brands I use. Again, everything will be linked down below. but you're going to take a piece of transfer tape, cut it to the size that you need, okay? And when you're putting it down, you're going to just kind of put it down kind of in a U shape, taco shape, like this, and you're going to go middle outward, okay? Middle outward. And you want to make sure you do this nice and fast and steady. You can't put it down and pick it back up. You are going to mess up your stones if you do that. It has to be one swift, clean motion, okay? So we're just going to place it down. And then you can just kind of use your hand to go over the stones. Make sure they're all nice and stuck to the transfer tape. And then they should all just come right up. Okay? Alright, I got my heat press heating up. Once it's the temperature, I'll come back and we'll go ahead and press together. Alright guys, I have all of my pieces brushed in. I just showed you the one red piece, but I did go ahead and brush in all of the other pieces off camera just to kind of make sure that this video wasn't too long. My heat press is almost to temperature, so we'll go ahead and start prepping our shirt. I have a black Bella Canvas shirt here, 100% cotton. I'm going to do a quick pre-press. Now, pre-presses are important when you're doing rhinestones because it gets the moisture out of the shirt, which really gets your shirt ready and prepared for the rhinestones. The rhinestones have a adhesive glue backing on them, and getting the moisture out of the shirt really makes sure that the adhesive on the back of those rhinestones is able to adhere to the shirt all the way. Okay, so I'm doing a multi-layer shirt. With that being said, I'm going to put down my first layer here. This shirt is for me, but typically, you know, if you are doing this for somebody else, you want to make sure you do you know, measure if you need to, whatever the case may be. Y'all, one of my stones came off right here. I'm just going to grab one and place it there. So there's just one little stone here missing. So I'm just going to get a stone. And I'm going to use my wax pen to just go ahead and place it manually. So if you ever run across an issue or maybe a stone pops off or whatever the case may be, just use some pointy tweezers or your wax pen to go ahead and hand place it. And there we go. So now I'm going to go ahead and press this 350 degrees, 350, for 12 seconds is the setting for these rhinestones, which are the baby's booty rhinestones. And each layer is going to get the same time, same temperature. And it is a hot peel, so once it comes right out, we can just go ahead and peel. So there is our first layer. And then for this one, I'm going to press the top and the bottom together just because I can go ahead and fit them at the same time. So there's the top part. Here is the bottom part. And then again, I'm going to go ahead and press 350 degrees for 15 seconds. And then we only have one more layer after this, and then we will be all set. Rhinestoning, when I first got into it, I thought it was going to be way more tedious. It is tedious in regards to, like, in comparison to maybe BTF or something like that. However, if you don't mind it, then it's definitely a very fun, very addicting craft. It's definitely one of my favorites. And now the word pretty is going to be in black diamond. You guys, this template is so amazing. I love it. And this is the last one, again, 350 for 15 seconds. You guys, I'm using a Ricoma 16 by 20 auto open heat press. I will have a link for this down below as well. This is my favorite heat press. It's the one I basically use all of the time.
Oh my goodness. All right, let me go ahead and show you guys. And here is the final products. Okay, so for this outline, which is like the white part, I use the color Icicles. For this red, I used Royal Siam. For the word pretty, I use Black Diamond. And for the blue, I use Sapphire AB. Again, the link to the rhinestones will be down below. I'll try to remember to list the colors I used, but again, I used Icicles, Royal Siam, Black Diamond, and Sapphire AB. Okay, hopefully I was able to help somebody. Hopefully I was able to answer some questions. If you have a question that I did not answer, definitely go ahead and comment down below, and I'll try to either make a video for it or get it answered. But you guys, this is all I have for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Until next time. Bye, guys.